What is up guys, my name is Ignas, welcome back to the channel. A quarter ago, the CEO of Synaptics, Michael Hurlston, went on CNBC to discuss the diversification of the company's portfolio and what kind of products they are currently working on. Let's hear what he said.
It's been a play for us, particularly in the wireless side of our portfolio. I mentioned that wireless asset that we got from Broadcom. We positioned that not to go after the mainstream types of products like high performance computing or really high speed types of applications. We positioned it to go into things like drones, things like automobiles, like games. We've done really well with that business. It's outperformed our best expectations. And I think it's because we didn't go after what everybody else was chasing. We repositioned it to go after an interesting market that has turned out to be a great grower.
So I would consider Synaptics a relatively small semiconductor company with just over $10 billion in market capitalization. But looking at the chart, it had great growth on the year to date, currently being up for over 180%. I have added two more names from the industry. So for today's comparison, we will have Monolithic Power Systems, ticker symbol MPWR, Synaptics SYNA, and Lattice Semiconductor, ticker LSCC. In order to make this comparison possible, we will be looking into 9 different factors. Last 4 quarterly earnings results, annual revenue growth, analysts' price targets, forward price to earnings ratio, price to sales ratio, return on equity, cash per share, current ratio, and Superinvestor capital allocation. The best company under each factor will get a point, so it is possible to have from 0 to 9 points, and in the end the stock with the most points will be considered the winner of this comparison. I do understand that it could be tough to sit through 10 minutes of analysis, so I will just bring the results up front for you to take a look into first. So the values for each factor are in, and here are the results. Monolithic Power Systems got 3 points, Synaptics 4, and Lattice Semiconductor 2. This means that with a sum of 4, Synaptics is considered the winner of this comparison. These are the results, but if you are still interested in how we got here, then continue on with the analysis. First factor are the last 4 quarterly earnings results. When a company reports earnings, they are compared to expectations of analysts. So earnings can either beat expectations, meet them, or miss them. We will consider that beating expectations is a +1, meeting +0.5, and missing 0. Then we sum the results up to a minimum of 0 and a maximum of 4, and in the end the stock with the highest sum gets a point for this factor. So these are quarterly earnings for Monolithic Power Systems, and Q4 of 2020 beat expectations, Q1 of 2021 beat, Q2 beat expectations, and Q3 beat. So with 4 beats in quarterly earnings, we get a sum of 4. Quarterly earnings for Synaptics, and Q4 of 2020 beat expectations, Q1 of 2021 beat, Q2 beat expectations, and Q3 beat. So with 4 beats in quarterly earnings, we again get a sum of 4. Quarterly earnings for Lattice Semiconductor, and Q4 of 2020 beat expectations, Q1 of 2021 beat, Q2 beat, and Q3 beat. So with 4 beats in quarterly earnings, we again get a sum of 4. Results for the last 4 quarterly earnings factor are in the table, and with equal sums of 4, no company is assigned a point for it. Second factor is the annual revenue growth. As investors, we want to find that the revenues of a company are on a steady increase. We will take a look into the revenues of the 4 most recent years and compare them one by one. If revenue was on the increase from one year to the next, we will consider it as a +1, and if it was on the decrease, it will be a +0. Then we sum the results up to a minimum of 0 and a maximum of 3, and in the end the stock with the highest sum gets a point for this factor. So here are annual revenues for MPWR, and going into 2018 there was an increase to $582 million US, then into 2019 we had another increase to $627 million, and into 2020 there was another increase to $844 million. So with 3 increases in annual revenues, we get a sum of 3. Annual revenues for Synaptics, and going into 2019 there was a decrease to $1.47 billion US, then going into 2020 there was another decrease to $1.33 billion, and into 2021 there was a small increase to $1.44 billion. So with 2 decreases and 1 increase in annual revenues, we get a sum of 1. Annual revenues for Lattice, and going into 2018 there was an increase to $398 million US. Then into 2019 we had another increase to $404 million, and into 2021 there was another increase to $408 million. So with 3 increases in annual revenues, we get a sum of 3. Results for the annual revenue growth factor are in the table, and with equal sums of 3, both Monolithic Power Systems and Lattice Semiconductor each gets a point. Next factor are the analysts' price targets. As potential investors, we want to check how far the current share price is away from the average analyst price target. If the current price is under the average target, we will consider the stock as undervalued, and in the end the company with share prices furthest away from the average analyst target to the lower side gets a point for this factor. So for Monolithic Power Systems we have 7 price targets of analysts. They range from the lows of $575 to the highs of $620 per share. The average is at $603.29, and the current share price is now at $563.11. This suggests that there is still 7.1% of room for the current price to reach the average target of analysts. For Synaptics, we have 11 price targets of analysts. They range from the lows of $175 to the highs of $300 per share. The average is at $258.18, and the current share price is at $272.53. This shows that the current price needs to go lower for 5.3% to reach the average target of analysts. For Lattice Semiconductor, we have 10 price targets of analysts. They range from the lows of $60 to the highs of $96 per share. The average is at $79.30, and the current share price is at $82.42. So the current price needs to go down for 3.8% to reach the average target of analysts. Results for the analysts' price targets factor are in the table, and with most room for growth, Monolithic Power Systems gets another point. Factor number 4 is the forward price to earnings ratio. It is calculated by taking the current share price and dividing it by the estimated future earnings per share. This is the standard price to earnings calculation, with the difference that earnings here are predicted by analysts. So in the end, the stock with the lowest forward price to earnings ratio gets a point for this factor. MPWR has the forward price to earnings at 64.94. Forward price to earnings for Synaptics is at 25.38, and the LSCC has the forward price to earnings at 64.10. Forward price to earnings ratios are in the table, and with the lowest value, Synaptics gets the first point. Next factor is the price to sales ratio. It is calculated by taking the company's market cap and dividing it by the trailing 12 months worth of sales. The formula here suggests to be looking for a company with a low market cap and a high result in sales. So in the end, the stock with the lowest price to sales ratio gets a point for this factor. Monolithic Power Systems has the price to sales at 24.24. Price to sales for Synaptics is at 8.03, and Lattice Semiconductor has the price to sales at 24.47. Price to sales ratios are in the table, and with the lowest value, Synaptics gets another point. Factor number 6 is return on equity. The percentage here suggests how well the company is managed and if money from investors are handled efficiently. So in the end, the stock with the highest return on equity percentage gets a point for this factor. Monolithic Power Systems has the return on equity at 20.43%. Return on equity for Synaptics is at 13.32%. And Lattice has the return on equity at 21.66%. Return on equity percentages are in the table, and with the highest value, a point goes to Lattice. Next factor is the cash per share. The ratio here shows the company's ability to reinvest and expand, and also to buy back shares or pay dividends. So in the end, the stock with the highest cash per share ratio gets a point for this factor. MPWR has the cash per share at 16.1. Cash per share for SYNA is at 8.84, and the LSCC has the cash per share at 1.43. Cash per share ratios are in the table, and with the highest value, a point goes to MPS. Factor number 8 is the current ratio. It is calculated by taking the current assets and dividing them by the current liabilities. As investors, we want to find that the company is able to cover its debts with assets assets, but also that they are still actually being leveraged. So in the end, the stock with the highest current ratio under 3 gets a point for this factor. Monolithic Power Systems has the current ratio at 4.68. Current ratio for Synaptics is at 2.47. And Lattice Semiconductor has the current ratio at 3.40. Current ratios are in the table, and with the highest value under 3, a point to Synaptics. The last factor is the Superinvestor capital allocation. We will check how many investors are holding these names and how much of capital there is currently there. So in the end, the stock that Superinvestors have the most capital in gets a point for this factor. It seems that Monolithic Power Systems is currently not present in any of the portfolios here. Synaptics is currently in one portfolio where they have 131,911 shares, making it a position of $35.8 million US. And Lattice Semiconductor is also in one portfolio with 13,126 shares, making that a position of $1.07 million US. Results for the Superinvestor capital allocation factor are in the table, and with the largest position, a point goes to Synaptics. So the values for each factor are in, and here are the results. Monolithic Power Systems got 3 points, Synaptics 4, and Lattice Semiconductor 2. This means that with a sum of 4, Synaptics is considered the winner of this comparison. And that was it. If you got value or new ideas, then make sure to push that thumbs up, it helps the channel a lot. Are you buying or holding any of the semiconductor stocks mentioned today? Share your stance on them in a comment below. If you are by any chance interested when I buy or sell any stock, then consider memberships. By becoming a member, you will get access to Discord, where I share my stock watchlist and all the buys and sells exactly when I do them. This could be a great option to track my moves closely. Last week I did a stock comparison on 3 other semiconductor companies, so if you are interested in that, then click on a video that is currently on the screen. And that was it from my side, thank you for watching, and I will be seeing y'all in the next one.